Hey everyone, so new look behind me and Tomb Raider review. So like many games I've played recently, has great voice acting, great graphics, just all around beautiful scenery, so to speak. But it's just again, it seems like lately the games I've been choosing to play all have these things, wrapped up to a T. So yay, video game industry. And what I like most about is when Laura with dealing with fire or water or dirt, mud, something like that, it clings to her, and you can see it. And before you perverts start saying, "Oh, why are you looking in certain places?" I'm not. I'm just drawn to how she looks, how she acts in certain situations, and you can't help but notice if there's a difference, like a splotch of mud anywhere on her body, let alone right here. So give me a break. The gameplay and the overall feel is very fluid, just like Uncharted, if you don't run into your commands not responding sometimes. But overall, it has an Uncharted feel, but it has its own feel more or less. And the story, it is interesting, but there's really nothing noteworthy to take away. I mean, it's been done before. We're trapped on an island. We gotta find our friends. We gotta protect them. Oh, there may be something on this island that isn't completely natural. And it's interesting to go through and experience, but it's nothing new, and we've all seen it. The story will probably take you about 10 to 15 hours to beat. I think it took me just a little less than 10 hours. And there's really no replayability unless you want to go collect everything for, 100% completion. But honestly, that really didn't intrigue me because the whole way the maps are set up, it looks, open world. And there is one area that is kind of open world, but for most of the part, it's linear. I mean, it's just like one big circle area, and you go here and you explore this area, but then from there it's just a thin narrow path to this other open area, and it's kind of linear, and I saw that, so it really didn't intrigue me. I'm trying to go explore all the places and collect things. Now, Tomb Raider is known for the puzzles and stuff like that. However, the only puzzles in this game were in the optional, like, tomb side missions, where you had to figure out this puzzle to get this award or this treasure in this tomb. And that's where only the real puzzles are. Besides that, in the game, the only puzzles are like, I guess, platform puzzles where you have to figure out where to go. But that's it. You don't really have to touch anything. You don't have to move anything. That's pretty much the only puzzles you'll see if you just play the main story. And finally, the last of the pros is the gameplay is fun and enjoyable. You got a wide variety of weapons to use and the skills to upgrade, and you can master, this weapon or this weapon and just continue on with that, or just, jack of all trades, which is typical in any game nowadays. However, it's not quite in depth to the point you want it to be, and it's just not as fun as you'd hope, but it is still fun in its own way. On to the cons. Sometimes the game can be glitchy. Sometimes buttons won't respond. And the QTEs in this game, they're fun. They're exhilarating. They're adrenaline pumping, and they're very interesting. Again, it's just that they're a hassle. It doesn't fit here, and it really irks you if you miss a command and you pushed the button. So sometimes the QTEs and the buttons not responding go hand in hand, and it will probably piss you off. And then lastly, there's many parts in the story where you'll be like, wait, no, that shouldn't have happened. Why would this happen? And you have to, suspend your belief of, oh, this should have happened instead, or this should not have happened. Like, in the very beginning of the game, Laura gets captured, and she has a group of people around her, and these, bad guys are holding all hostage on the ground with guns, and then all of a sudden one of the captured guys just gets up, runs away, he gets shot, and then the rest of the guys just scatter. And the guy holding Laura literally just looks at her, points the gun at her, says, "Don't you move," and tells everyone to go away, and then goes away himself, leaving Laura just simply with her hands tied behind her back with rope, and saying, "Don't go anywhere." That makes no sense. You don't let a hostage free like that. You don't just leave them there and say, "Hey, stay there because, you're a good hostage." No, that makes no sense, and there's many more things like that along the story. And lastly, the multiplayer, as I mentioned in one of my previous vids, it's more cat and mouse. There's some interesting traps to set up, but the guns are horrible, and it feels kind of retro-y, arcadey, and it's like a perfect party game, but it's not really meant to be on a competitive level. It just doesn't work out. It's one of those games where you'd sit in the bedroom and play with your friends and be like, "Oh, this is the best game ever," but once you try to take it further than that, you're like, "Wow, how did I even see anything in this? And if that wasn't enough, the multiplayer has very, very few game modes. I think only 4, so this will not last very long for you. So if you're a Tomb Raider fan and an action-adventure fan, and you don't mind the typical, tech issues, I'd say buy the new Tomb Raider. But if you're one of those gamers who want something new, you're not looking for the same old trick, and you really hate tech issues that don't respond to your commands, those type of tech issues, I'd probably say avoid Tomb Raider.